My... This is barbaric.
Well, are there any loopholes? All we need is one. And I suppose complying with Uncle Herbert's will is...
Out of the question.
It's open.
Any update on the threat against your company?
Alexis is examining the will right now.
There aren't any loopholes. I had a whole herd of expensive attorneys scour that thing, top to bottom, letter by letter. When Uncle Herbert made a plan, he made it ironclad.
Will you be surprised what Alexis can do?
Yeah, well, I'm afraid not in this case. The language in your uncle's will is ironclad. It's very clear, and if you don't meet his 18th century demands, you're going to lose your company.
Not necessarily. No, hear me out. I may have a solution.
You have a way to save my company?
Well, I'm not sure that's possible, but you may, in fact, lose Chloe Morgan Design. But what you won't lose is your talent and your ability to design. Now, I started making some calls this morning, and I hinted that you may be looking for investors to start a new company.
Was there interest?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've already started getting calls. With your say-so, you can have venture capitalist backing, but you're also going to be hearing from at least 2 design houses.
To bring her on.
Thank you, but those ways aren't going to work.
Why not?
Because Uncle Herbert's will is very clear. If I leave to go with outside investors or to go with another design house, his estate retains my name. I'll never be able to design as Chloe Morgan again, and that is very important to me. As I've already told you, whoever holds the purse strings, as we all know, has the final say. And they have creative control. And I refuse to give that up. If I give that up, I cannot be the designer that I want to be. Once you start altering your vision to meet someone else's expectations, then you lose your creative focus.
Yeah, but Chloe, with all due respect to your vision, fashion is a business, and business is about compromise.
But creativity is about being true to yourself. Ned, when you write a song, do you write what you think is going to sell, or do you write what you feel?
Well, she has a point. I mean, in my experience, the best songs are written from the heart. I mean, what feeds you creatively are those moments when your vision or your dreams become a reality.
I can't speak for anyone else but me. But the assembly line way of doing things would be deadly. It would positively stifle me.
Well, Chloe, if you don't go along with this Philistine thing, you're going to lose your company.
Then I will. And I will start over from scratch, but answering only to myself.
Hang on. You're still in the game. You haven't lost your company, so don't give up so easily. And there's always a way to win. We just haven't found it yet.
Bet is to file suit alleging that this will is unlawful. That way, even if you eventually lose, you can keep your company for the duration of the suit, which could take years. My God, that's gorgeous.
I want to do it in green chiffon.
I'll buy it. That way, you have to take me someplace nice to show it off.
Love to, but first, let's settle the question of Chloe's company. Now, what about the injunction?
My attorney's already tried. The court's turned me down.
Why?
Because Uncle Herbert's will is specific and ironclad. And I accepted it by accepting the money in the first place.
All right. So you do lose your company. And I understand your reluctance to answer to investors. But what if I could guarantee that your backers would have no creative input whatsoever?
Ned, have you ever met a money man who didn't want input into the product?
I wouldn't.
You want to invest in a design house?
I'd do it. I mean, weren't you the one who suggested that Ned and I should partner up?
Did you? I suggested the same thing.
There, you see?
I appreciate your faith in me. I truly do. And from what I know of you, there are no 2 people I would rather go into business with. But the answer is no. I don't want your charity.
Charity? No, this isn't charity. There's a difference. See, when you send a check to a charity, you never expect them to send you one back with a lot more zeros attached to the end of it than you sent them.
This wouldn't be charity. This is an investment.
And obviously you've made money at what you do. There's no reason to expect you won't continue to do so.
And somewhere down the line, we'll be happy to sell your company back to you.
And a nice profit to us.
Absolutely. So what do you say?
Not ready yet. What other option do you have?
I know you both mean well, and I don't expect you two to understand this, but this isn't about money to me. This is about my dream. As hard as this is to believe, I mean, to believe that I mean this, I designed for the sheer joy of it. I have been incredibly fortunate that Uncle Herbert's generosity has allowed me to run my company that way. But I couldn't ask anybody else to take that risk. I couldn't ask either one of you to bankroll what is essentially my personal dream. It wouldn't be fair to any of us if I didn't succeed. And I would be under the constant cloud of worry that every decision I made was one that was going to let you down.
Well, Chloe, you didn't feel that way about Uncle Herbert. You let him bankroll you.
And look where that's gotten me. You know, there are always strings attached.
Exactly. No matter what deal you take or make, there are going to be strings attached. So why not be attached to us?
Look, we wouldn't be offering this if we didn't think it was a solid profit maker.
No, thank you. I am going to fight this as long and as hard as I can. And if I am forced to, I will find another way to do what I love. But it will be on my own terms.
Maybe we better go back to what Ned was suggesting earlier. Have you ever considered complying with the outrageous demands of this will?
Well, I seem to be missing something. And when I get married, it won't be for business.
What does marriage have to do with it?
You think you're a shark? Wait till you hear what this guy did.
That is what the will requires. For me to hold on to my company, I have to be happily married. Within the next month.
Excuse me, but this is the first I've heard of your uncle's will having a marriage clause.
I thought you knew.
No, let me get this straight. If you're not married...
Happily, it must be happily.
If you're not happily married within a month, you're going to lose your company?
And my name.
According to this will, ownership of both company and the trademark name Chloe Morgan Design will revert to Uncle Herbert's estate.
By the end of the month.
Unless Chloe is Mrs. Someone.
I told you this guy was a shark.
No, Uncle Herbert, he was wonderful. He just worried about me when it came to love. It's a long story.
And have you heard this story?
Not really.
Well, then perhaps we should hear it.
When Uncle Herbert put that clause in his will that I had to be happily married within 5 years of his death, he wasn't being a shark or trying to take back my hard-earned success. He was just trying to remind me that a career without a balanced life is ultimately unsatisfying and not the goal. Also, no one ever considered that Uncle Herbert would die within a month of making out that will. Uncle Herbert was supposed to live forever, and therefore giving me forever to fall in love.
How did he die?
After a 10-kilometer run. With no warning, he went home, went to sleep, and never woke up.
Alexis?
No, we cannot argue that the wording of the will does not convey the understood intent. I'm sure that's the first thing Chloe's attorney tried, right? Unfortunately, without Uncle Herbert here to agree, the only way that we know what he wanted is what's written, and what's written is not only outrageous, it's very specific.
Is that true? Did your lawyers already argue intent?
It was argued.
But?
Uncle Herbert has a widow, Aunt Gertrude. If I don't meet my end of the deal and get married within the next month, my company reverts to her.
And what's Aunt Gertrude's take on this?
Aunt Gertrude can't wait to get her hands on my dream.
Gertrude wants Chloe Morgan Designs. She's the one pressing the will.
She's my aunt by marriage. She's got a few character flaws.
Such as?
Greed, jealousy, not to mention the new boyfriend.
Oh, and he wants the money.
I wish he wanted the money. He is a supremely untalented designer, and she wants to give him Chloe Morgan Designs. It's the unkindest cut of all. His designs with my name on them. His vile turbans labeled as Chloe Morgan Originals.
He designs turbans?
Loves them.
And the problem with fighting Aunt Gertrude is your uncle left an ironclad will, thinking that he'd lived to a ripe old age, by which time you'd be celebrating your 30th or 40th wedding anniversary.
Surrounded by tons of grandkids. But Aunt Gertrude is playing hardball.
And it's the bottom of the ninth and she's still winning. Is that the right analogy?
Well, that was good.
Oh.
So the solution is, big deal. You get married.
I don't think so.
How long do you have to stay married to satisfy this will?
1 year. According to paragraph 27C, Chloe must remain happily married for 1 full year.
Happily.
A year with a stranger? Well, vacations might not be fun.
But they'd have to look like fun. Aunt Gertrude would watch like a hawk.
In case of estrangement, the union is disqualified. Same regarding infidelity, paragraph 46.
See, there is nothing I can do.
There's always something you can do. You know, Chloe, the idea wasn't to name every man you know, just the ones you could, possibly spend a year with.
I keep thinking of people to add to the list. If this ever got out, I don't want anyone to feel insulted.
Let's hear about who you have so far.
Okay, one more.
Let's just stick with the top 5. Not that we're really being serious about this. Right?
Okay. Now, I could ask Simon.
Prentice?
But he's so crazy in love with V. And then there's Lyle, who is a definite possibility, but Lyle's sort of in love with me, and I just don't want to break his heart. The Italian water polo team. They're Italian. George Clooney.
No.
Actor.
But he's so very... See? I'm stuck. I really never thought it would come to this. 5 years ago, my attorneys assured me they would be able to break the will, that Uncle Herbert's romantic notions would never stand up in court. I know this sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I never thought I was going to get that call yesterday.
Find a man, have a ceremony, or lose your company. That was the best that they could do.
Now, one of them had an even better solution. Fall in love fast.